Welcome back to Bills Bets and Beers. I'm your host Chad. This is a channel where I talk mostly about Bills football, the NFL in general, uh, explain some same game parlays I'm putting in for football, mostly Thursday night, Monday night, and Sunday night football, with some others sprinkled in for Sunday as well. Also, occasionally doing tasting and rating of a tasty brew, mostly IPAs from the local area. So for this video, as you can tell by the title, it's going to be about the Thursday night football parlays I have in. It's the Eagles versus Texans, so honestly, I think the Eagles are just going to run away with it, but it's hard to take that plus 14, plus or minus 14 on that, because you don't know how this games are going to go, because it's been so wild lately with football. Bills updates. Hines, we just signed him a couple days ago, and he actually takes Moss's old number because Poyer has 21. So he's number 20. That's very interesting for the people that actually bought Moss's jerseys. I guess it could be a lot easier to turn it into a jersey. It's still functional. Yeah, let's get into this video. I have two parlays put in for this two parlays put in for Thursday Night Football. One's through FanDuel and one is through Caesars. I'll go through both of them and explain each leg. FanDuel, it's a 5-leg one, but I put a little bit more money on it because it's a no sweat bet promo through FanDuel. They give you at most $5 free money back from your bet. So if you put $10 down or $7 down like I did today, and you lose, you'll still get $5 back from that no sweat bet. So you're not really losing money in a sense. It's like a free $5 bet. So if you're ever looking into just kind of like messing around with it and putting some bets in, that's the days to do it. They do a no sweat bet for Thursday Night Football usually, and sometimes Mondays, but not usually. I think it's usually just Thursdays for FanDuel. I chose A.J. Brown over 69.5 receiving yards. Dameon Pierce over 18.5 receiving yards. I think both of those guys are gonna get that. Obviously, A.J. Brown is very good with the team because he's been hitting massive numbers on games. I checked the numbers. He doesn't usually get over 60 too often, but he has games where he's had over 100 plus easy. So, and especially against the Houston defense like this, I think he's gonna have the ability to hit that. Dameon Pierce with the 18.5 receiving, I think the running back for the Texans is gonna hit that because he's gonna have a lot of dump offs to him. And he's probably going to get like 5 or 6 yards on those, or just a couple little quick passes like with him jetting out. I think that's going to be something because the Philly defense is going to come attacking him, and I think he's just going to get out there for a couple times and get probably 25, 30 yards from receiving. He's not going to be doing much on the ground, unfortunately, but at least that's how I see the game going at the moment. Next one I put is very interesting. I did an Eagles defense anytime touchdown. I just think their quarterback's just gonna get either picked off like a pick six, close to their side of the end zone, close to their end zone, or something like a fumble or something, and they're gonna pick it up and run it in. Eagles defense is very good, and they've been good at scoring. So, and taking advantage of those takeaway plays, which I have a lot of them. I think they're plus 14 or something in takeaways or something like that. Then I chose Miles Sanders anytime touchdown as well, and Miles Sanders over 79.5 rushing yards. What I've noticed, which is very interesting, I always go through do some research on these games because I don't always watch a team, so I just kind of watch what they've been doing every week, like stat wise, and it looks like, at least for like Jalen Hurts' standpoint, he hasn't been rushing the ball as much. He still has some attempts, but it's not like he had before. He's actually passing it a lot better now. So against this type of defense, I don't think he's gonna have to run the ball. I think they're trying to save his legs and keep him more healthier longer, and have him run when he needs to, but he's not always going to be running. He hasn't really hit over 50 that much this year. At least the past 4 weeks. He's been around 30-ish. So I chose Miles Sanders to get more rushing because I think they're going to use him more in those situations instead of having their quarterback run when they don't have to when they have a lead. So I think 79.5 yards is doable for Sanders, especially against this type of defense. It might. I don't think they're good against the run. I think they're just going to be stacking up points. So towards the end, they're just going to be running him. He's going to get chunk plays like 8-9 yards or something like that, and it's all eventually going to add up. Probably won't get much over 80. Probably like 90 to 100. But that's how you do it with betting. Everything's pretty precise when they put these lines down. So just for those 7 to hit, the odds were 60 plus 6,300, and it turns my $7 into 452 if I hit it. So not great odds, but still pretty good. I mean, yeah, you're getting really good profit per dollar you're putting in. Like I said, I don't put bets in that high usually. I just did it because that no sweat bet through FanDuel is amazing. Next one up I have is my Caesars bet. I put in a 7-leg parlay through them. Same thing, same game parlay. I chose the over on 4.5 receptions for A.J. Brown. I think that's obvious. I think he's going to get between 5 to 7. At least I think they're going to try to pepper him and show him that, hey, you're the true number one, and we want to feed you targets against this bad defense and get your stats up. An A.J. Brown anytime touchdown. I think it's just going to happen. I don't usually like to put them on there, but with this one, it's only $2, so I like to stack. I need to stack it up a little bit, just get some profit from it. Then Dameon Pierce anytime touchdown. I think he's going to be the only one that's really scoring over there in that Texans team. So I think they're going to get close enough with a long pass to Cooks or something, and then they're going to have him run the ball in when he gets close enough, so they don't get any possible turnovers down that far in the end zone. Then I have Pierce over 2.5 receptions. Again, I think this is an obvious one. I just think he's going to be getting the targets because they're going to be dump-offs. So either yards or dump-off. Yards is tricky because sometimes they get the dump-offs and they get tackled in the back. But when you go the reception route, you're guaranteed at least, I think this game you're guaranteed at least 2.5 receptions to Dameon Pierce. I mean, he's just going to get the targets in the backfield, like just a quick pass to him, or like everything's being crushed down on the quarterback and he's got to dump it off. He may not get too many yards that way, but I'm hoping he at least gets his 20 that I need him to get for the other bet. But I don't see him getting much more than that. Like I said, 30 max. Also, I chose Jalen Hurts over 1.5 passing touchdowns. He's been very good passing lately, especially with how A.J. Brown's been playing and the rest of the team. So I just see him getting the over 1.5 touchdowns. He's been, last week he got 4, the other week he got 3. He's been hitting higher passing touchdowns than rushing touchdowns, and rushing yards and passing yards instead of rushing yards. I don't like hitting the passing yards one. Obviously, that could be a take anytime as well because it's only 233 over. But it all depends how quickly they get up, and if they don't have to pass as much after a certain part of the game, then it might lower his numbers at that point. Also, I chose a Hurts under 41.5 rushing. I talked about this earlier. I just see a pattern going where they're keeping him not taking away from the design runs, but they're not using them as much because they don't have to. Teams aren't pressuring them to make them use that, to get those yards, to put their foot on their throats. They don't need to. They can just do it by passing and doing it with their normal run game. So, I mean, why would you put your quarterback that's been getting you to these games and keeping the ball away from everyone, not turning it over, and putting him in harm's way? It just doesn't make sense. It's a good game plan because if you have to, that's the start of the game plan. You can turn on in the second half and then get those yards and come back from a game if it's a close game or if you're losing by something a little bit. And the last one for this I have is Devontae Smith under 50.5 yards. He hasn't been getting his 50.5 yards receptions. He hasn't been getting as much of these yards, and I think A.J. Brown's just going to eat this game. So I think Devontae Smith is going to get his yards, but less than 50. Probably get around 40, 45 to have a decent game. The odds for this game were 4,500, plus 4,500, and turns my $2 into 92. So it's pretty nice. 7 legs with those anytime touchdowns and stuff are going to be interesting, even when you start betting like quarterbacks and like passing touchdowns, because sometimes it just doesn't happen. But I think it's going to happen this game. I think the Eagles are just going to just demolish the Texans, and they're just going to get all these yards and everything, and it's going to pan out for me. I just hope that Devontae Smith thing stays under for that one. This is a new little segment for these parlay videos. I'm going to say, like, this is the for sure bets parlay. For sure bets section. I think A.J. Brown, just I have like 3 or 4 of them. If you're ever going to put these bets down, A.J. Brown, his over for reception yards or just receptions in general, that's an easy take any day of the week. This type of, at least for this type of game especially, because he's going to get his yards, and he's definitely going to get his receptions, because against this defense, he's going to get targeted. They don't have the number 1 corner to stop him or to put pressure on them. They might blanket him a lot, but he's still going to get the ball pushed to him. Next one up is I have Dameon Pierce over on receptions. Again, like I noted before, Mills will be pressured this game, and he will have to dump it off. Who's he going to dump the ball off to? The running back. He's going to get his 2.5 receptions. He's probably going to get towards 5 or 6. Hurts, I chose Hurts over 1.5 touchdowns. It's just not a good Texans defense. They've been playing well enough against bad teams, but against a good team like this, they're not going to be able to cover them. And with how Jalen Hurts has been rushing the ball less and passing way more efficiently and better, he's going to get his 1.5 touchdowns. Then I have this is an obvious one, Eagles money line, because touching that -14 or +14 for the Texans is just not safe. I mean, you saw it in the Bills game. Yes, they've covered everything up to that point when they had won games, but couple of them they didn't, like that. Like I think it was the Baltimore, but besides that, they've been pretty well, and very rare you get the example of like the Steelers game, like a 38-3 or something like that. Like the Bills, they had against the Packers this last week, they won 27-17. You think that's a good win, but they had a 10.5. They had some got it at 10.5, some got it at 11.5 spread. It was 11.5 by the end, so they didn't win by off the spread, and winning by 14. And the Eagles have let people in, but they didn't last week. So maybe it's starting to become a pattern where they're not going to let teams come back as easily, especially a team like this with the type of offense they have going for them. But it's not good enough of a risk to take that -14, because you take the -14, it's only like -110. Take the +14 for the Texans, it's -110. You might as well not have to throw that in there at this point. But moneyline odds are not great. It's like -700. So unless you have a big parlay going, you just kind of want to add something to it. That'd be something to add in. Just it doesn't make sense in the long haul to add them into this one. But that would be a very for sure bet. Because that's gonna happen. I don't see this being an upset game. Preview for my next coming up videos. I have Bills vs. Jets preview, prediction, and same game parlay. I'm just wrapping it all into one. Then I have a Sunday night football and just Sunday football game parlays coming in as well. Probably have like 2 or 3 to run through there as well. And my Monday night football parlay as usual. And I'll probably be dropping that on Sunday, or at least Monday morning. And then the Bills vs. Jets post-game reaction. So that as well I'll be dropping Monday too. So I'll probably drop that reaction Monday, and I'll put the Monday Night Football thing coming. I'll put the Monday Night Football one on the Sunday. And for the Bills Jets preview, I'll be doing that Friday night, just because I want to make sure I get like a good gist of who's going to be healthy this game, because Jordan Poyer might be out. Edmonds is banged up, I guess. Same thing with Milano. I just don't know what's going on, so I don't want to just put a score prediction and all these other things up in like I don't know. I don't want to put that anything else up until I know like all the information possible for the game, so I can do a better video for that type of content. And that's gonna be it. I'll wrap things up in my sponsors part of the video. It's Crochet with Alicia. That's my first sponsor. It's my wife. It's her crochet business. She does like gloves, hats, scarves, all for like kids and adults. She does a nice little dragon scale gloves. She does blankets as well for kids, cardigans, tops, bottoms, bikini tops and stuff like that. She does anything you can ask for, even shirts. She buys the yarn that's specifically for that type of stuff, and it's always good quality. It's always good work. If you don't see anything on her page that you want, but you have an idea of what you'd like, you can ask her, and I'm sure she can find a pattern for it and tell you like a price, because most patterns you have to pay for, good ones anyways. So she would kind of put the end to the price if it's something she hasn't had to made yet. But those patterns are usually only $5 at max, so might be an additional $5 for the product with the work and stuff. But she usually has a pretty not cheap, but like a low pricing points on these things, because unfortunately with handmade stuff, people aren't going to pay what you would normally pay for the amount of hours you put into it. But she's very good with figuring out what's to pay, and then she usually keeps it a little bit lower because she understands how it's viewed. But that is Crochet with Alicia. She's on Instagram. It's Crochet with Elisha, and you'll find her. Probably find this ugly mug on there too. I've worn a couple other things, so she could put it on the video, on the Instagram. Also, I have my buddy Evan. He has a channel over at Mr_Nasty_Time. That's NASTYTYYYME. I'll be putting the link in the description as well for him. He has a lot of content. He has content for the UFC, just some betting parlays every once in a while when it's a good card. He does a rankings video every single week for NFL so far. He does 1 through 32, and it's a lot of work, and it's a pretty good video, a couple minutes explaining each team and why they're in each area. He does a whole like up and down, like their movements from week to week. He does a lot of effort into making those videos with his PowerPoint and everything that he puts in for it, and definitely worth to watch. The content's good as well, and his voice will pull you into the videos. He has a very good talking voice. He also does gaming through it now. He switched from Twitch recently, so I guarantee if you've heard of his content before, switch over to there. That's where it's going to be putting his gaming stuff now. And right now it's mostly Modern Warfare 2 stuff at the moment, but he also does a lot of other games as well. He switches up. He does Star Wars games, NBA, everything you can think of. So go over there and watch that content. He's always putting stuff up. Not daily, but usually every couple days. And my future, hopefully, sponsor, New Belgium Voodoo Ranger. If I can get them, that'd be great. If you haven't checked it out, check out the Juice Force, and that'll tell you everything you need to know about the brand. They have higher percentage IPAs with a lower percentage like taste to it. It's not as overly hoppy, especially for people who haven't had IPAs. I think you would enjoy these. But that's gonna be it. And as always, go Bills. And if you like the content, hit like, subscribe, shoot a comment if you want to. Tell me any critiques. I don't care if it's a bad thing, a good thing. If you like my video, you hate my videos, just let me know what you think. Go Bills.